Hi, you guys. Welcome back. We are officially at 1,000 hours on Dreaming Spanish. Yay, finally. That only took a long time. Actually, we're in March now, and I got to 1,000 hours a few weeks ago in like the end of February. So yeah, and y'all already know what we do during this time. I like to go through the roadmap and talk about where I'm at. And so yeah, let's just go ahead and get right into it. So I'm officially at level 6. I am in the last stretch of the roadmap because whenever I get to 1,500 hours, I will be at level 7, which is the end of the roadmap. Now, of course, there are some people who continue to count. I don't think I'm going to continue to count after 1,500 hours because I'm ready to be free. I'm ready to be free, y'all. And I don't really think I care what happens after that. When it comes to hours, I'm just going to be vibing, just going to be living and just enjoying having Spanish a part of my daily life as I continue to advance. But yeah, so we're going to start with the roadmap. Of course, I'm going to talk about my feelings, where I'm at, just how I feel at this point. And then, yeah, at the end, I'll talk about some of the media that really helped me push through to get to these 1,000 hours and what I am planning to do next, because I do want to switch it up a little bit now that I'm at this final stretch. In having 1,000 hours, I have 500 hours to go to finish the roadmap. And so, yeah, I've definitely been contemplating a lot about how I want to finish out the last 500 hours of the roadmap. Of course, I'm not done learning Spanish after the roadmap is done, y'all, but just in regards to the roadmap. So yeah. Okay, so let's look. Level 6, you are comfortable with daily conversation. Hours of input, 1,000. Known words, 7,000. Videos to watch, advanced. So let's just start with the basics here. I don't know how many words I actually know. So let's get into what I can do. What can you do here? You can really have fun with the language at this point. You are conversationally fluent for daily purposes of living in the country, yada, yada, yada. I think a lot of people have said this already, but it's a very interesting take because it's like, if we're not supposed to speak into 1,000 hours, it is kind of an interesting way to word it, to say like, oh, you're already conversationally fluent. Like I just started talking yesterday, you know what I mean? Technically I didn't, but I hope you understand what I mean here. It is kind of like speaking and listening are two totally different parts of the brain. There are two different things that you really have to work on. So am I conversationally fluent? I'm conversational. I am conversational, y'all. Of course, it's not hard for me to have a conversation. I'm not, I can't say it's not hard. Me cuesta mucho. Me cuesta mucho. Okay, it's not like the easiest thing in the world. Of course, I can understand people are saying to me and I can respond back, but the way in which I do that is not always efficient, where sometimes I just kind of take like a back seat to conversations. If I'm in like a group conversation, a lot of the times I am just an observer because it's like, I would not call myself fluent conversationally because I still stumble on my words. I still make little mistakes. I have 2 videos out now of me. Y'all, this cat, she's so adventurous. She's so adventurous. Anyways, I have 2 videos out now of me speaking, which I do my best. The first one is lightly edited and the second one is not edited at all. So you can really see like the way that my brain has to think while I am trying to speak Spanish. And so, yeah, conversationally fluent, no, but definitely conversational. Okay, I can definitely have conversations with people. So yeah, it says in spite of the odd word that's not there, that may not be there whenever you need it, you can always get your point across, which is more or less true. I do think there is quite a few very basic vocabulary that I still have not picked up. And so, yeah, I want to diversify my content, which we'll talk about later though. I'm already making complex, longer phrases. Not exactly. I have found that usually whenever I start trying to make a more complex sentence, I just give up. And I don't know if it's because I can't do it or if it's because I'm like, I'm thinking a lot. I'm reverting back to English. I can't do this. And I think sometimes I'm trying to get better at this, but I definitely am kind of hard on myself. Like I do expect myself to be perfect. I don't know why, because I mean that means you actually have to have practice and stuff. I don't know why I think I'm just like supposed to be perfect like as soon as I open up my mouth, but unfortunately that is something I struggle with. So yeah, at this level, for the first time, you start feeling like you were actually thinking about what you want to say and not how you want to say it. I'm still doing both. Okay, yeah, so in the roadmap, it does say that if you're feeling subconscious or, what does it say? If you're feeling subconscious or stressful, which is how I always feel whenever I have to speak Spanish. So that actually makes sense. Using humor in the language is much easier now. I wouldn't say it's much easier, but I would say I'm a naturally very funny person. So I can't help it. Even with very little time, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I would say it's a tad bit easier. Okay, hi guys. I'm editing and I just wanted to make it clear what I meant here because I think maybe I didn't understand it well, or maybe I did, I don't know. But whenever I read that part of the roadmap, I thought they were literally talking about like higher level humor, like humor that you have to be in the know about, like humor that you culturally have to know about, like, you know, whenever you're in a conversation, maybe hanging out with like a group of native speakers and like they're making references to things that you would only know at a higher level. I thought they were talking about like those types of jokes, not just like internet memes, which now that I'm like watching it back, I'm like, well, maybe they were just talking about memes. I don't know, but because the memes are like unlocked at like a very, very early level. So I didn't think they were talking about that type of humor. I thought they were talking about like, you know, we're giving like stand-up comedians and like, you know, you're in a group of native speakers and like they're cracking jokes, like those types of jokes. I thought that's what they meant by humor. So I don't know for sure, but I just wanted to make it clear that's what I understood. So that's what I was talking about. But love a meme, love a good meme, 100%. But yeah. But because of solely doing input, I feel like at this point, I'm not really able to make jokes because I feel like at this point with input, there's a lot of phrases or like idioms that like I haven't acquired. So, and I feel like whenever you make jokes, like you have to be in the know of that. And then you also have to be in the know culturally. And of course, in that way, I can kind of understand, I can't even say that, but I would say like maybe Chilean jokes fall on me a little bit more easier.
Hola, ¿cómo estáis tú de allá? Oye, estáis súper grande, ¿eh?
Sí, pues ya voy en octavo.
Ella, la gigante egoísta.
Ella, la basquetbolista.
Ella, la palota. Ella, la malla alfa.
Ella, la Latin lover.
Ella, la DiCapria. Tranquilo. Oye, de que son pesados, weón.
Oye, es que nos tienen hasta acá, compadre, hasta acá.
Ella, la visera loca.
Thrillers and other genres will still be hard. This is kind of true. I've been moving more towards getting into like horror and things and like scary stories. Like there's a podcast I've been listening to. And I will say I'm very in and out. So it's a little bit frustrating in that way, but it goes back to content. I need more diverse content. So yeah, I'm already reading a lot. I really do like to read. And so yeah, I would say that definitely helps. If you live in the country, join as many social activities as you can. That's actually something I'm doing. I mean, if you have watched my channel before, you know I did start ballet last year, but then I had to, I couldn't continue it for as long as I liked. But I am actually starting ballet again tonight at a new studio. I'm kind of nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I'm nervous because sometimes I just don't really want to be perceived. I'm like very, very nervous for it, but also excited. Whenever I did this last year, I was at maybe like 600 hours. Okay. I was at maybe like 600 hours whenever I started ballet last year. And now I'm at 1,000. So if I could understand ballet last year, I'm going to be able to understand the instructor now. So we're just going to jump right in and see how it goes. I mean, obviously in the class, I didn't actually have to talk a lot because we're just there to learn and listen to the instructor. But yeah, I don't know. We will see. We will see how the experience is different from when I started last year to now. Guys, so here's the thing. I have recognized that I have definitely fallen into the trap of like just doing what I enjoy. And through that, I have found that I actually do not understand certain things. That being said, I would say I'm very diverse within Dreaming Spanish, but outside of that, I'm not. And I think that is where I fell short. So within Dreaming Spanish, I'm watching everything. I watch science videos, historical history videos, obviously self-care, video gaming videos, whatever. But I have found that that has not translated well for me outside of Dreaming Spanish. And so whenever I start listening to a podcast or if I watch like a video about something that's a little bit more technical, that's not within my expertise of like lifestyle and fashion and commentary, like, you know, like just social commentary, it's very in and out. It's not consistent like it is whenever I put on a self-help podcast or whenever I am reading about like what's gonna be in style this winter, you know what I mean? Like it's just not the same. And so for that, one of my things moving forward is that I seriously want to start incorporating more things outside of what I would usually want to go for, because I think at this point we get it. Like, girl, like I can understand 99% of a podcast about lifestyle, but I put on a podcast about scary stories, and now it's kind of like I kind of understood that story, but the story was a little bit confusing. And so moving forward, that is one of my biggest things, because it's something that, like, okay, at this point I'm at 1,000 hours. I want to be well-rounded in Spanish. I don't want to just be conversational and stop here and I can only talk about things that are going on in life. I want to be able to talk about a lot of topics. Something that's actually interesting, and I think this might help, because Radio Ambulante is like that, where it's you have a lot of different topics. And I actually listened to not the first episode, but my first episode of Radio Ambulante, which was very fun for me because I have wanted to start that podcast for a while, but I was very intimidated and I never gave it a shot. And I saw somebody, I think in the Discord, saying that they have already started that at like 600, 700 hours. And I was like, oh, for real? So I was like, let's see. And it was in and out. It was enjoyable enough that I would want to keep listening, but also I can learn a lot from it. So I'm thinking about moving forward, I might start doing a little bit more intensive, like, so yeah, I'm thinking like it would be a really good way to learn more vocabulary that is just outside of my niche. And so I would like to start like reading the transcripts along with listening to the podcast of Radio Ambulante. And I think that's actually going to be very helpful for me in that way. As for reading itself, I'm still continuing to read. I'm a part of Renee's 25 and 25 book challenge, and I would say I'm doing good. I don't know. Like, I have not actually sat down and calculated the way in which I need to be reading. Like, how many books should I like try to read a month? I'm just kind of like vibing. And honestly, the number that I get to is a number that I get to come the end of the year. But I do like having the goal, because in the back of my mind, like, oh, we need to be reading because we have 25 books we need to read in Spanish this year. If it doesn't happen, I will survive. But I think the goal is nice, and it's helping me read more and not be on my phone so much. So it's really, really nice. Yeah. As for speaking, I still am not doing that good at that. And so my goal with speaking now is doing 15 minutes a day. 15 minutes a day, speaking to myself, 15 minutes with a timer. And this is something from, I cannot remember her whole name, I'm sorry. Her name is Anna, though. And she does a lot of different types of videos, but she has like a lot of like little polyglot type of videos. And it's something that she actually recommended that I would like to do, because I think at this point in my Spanish speaking journey, I need to be finding my gaps. And so for 15 minutes, I'm going to tell myself speaking about whatever topic in Spanish I want to talk about. And I want to keep note of the words that I still don't know, because I think that would be actually very, very helpful. And whenever it comes to being able to talk to somebody in Spanish, I mean, I like taking classes here and there. It's not really like my priority at this point. Obviously I can speak with my partner in Spanish, and yeah, I live in a Spanish speaking country. I need to talk to my friends more in Spanish. That's really it. I'm not really worried about getting feedback, because I think that I do get feedback from Compers Input. I've noticed that things that I'm confused about, I'll end up reading about it, or like in one of my books, or I'll just like hear somebody use the phrase properly and I'm like, okay, there we go. It's not really like, I'm not really at a point where I'm like, oh, I really want somebody critiquing the way I speak. As for how I feel about 1,000 hours, do I feel like it was a big jump from 600 to 1,000? In a very gradual way, you know? It was something that it was almost like one day I couldn't do something and the next day I could, and I didn't even notice. I don't know. It was very, very, very gradual. It wasn't as dramatic as I thought it would be. I had a very dramatic idea of how it should be, and it was not that dramatic at all. And so, yeah. But I feel really good about it. I really do feel good about it. I literally, this past weekend, my partner's family was over. We had a nice little Sunday lunch, and usually I fall into a crosstalk type of thing, because like I said, I do feel insecure being around a whole bunch of Spanish speakers and like holding everybody up because they're cracking jokes, having a good time. And then it's like, when it's my turn to speak, it's like, all right, everybody, now we have to be patient, which, not saying people feel like that, but that's how I feel about me. So I project that. But whatever, this was like one of the first times in a while that like I just spoke Spanish, and it was really good actually. And I was like, ooh. And it's like, the more I did it, the more I was like not even really thinking about it anymore, and like the words were just coming out, and I was like, oh, okay. So this is why practicing speaking is important. So yeah, and his uncle was like, oh, your Spanish has actually gotten so much better. Thank you. But yeah, I just need to continue, y'all. I just have to keep pushing. I'm really excited to see what 1,500 hours looks like, because it's gonna be giving. I feel like it's really gonna be giving. At this point, 1,000 hours is really good. I mean, I'm watching TV shows like, y'all, there's a lot of things that are unlocked at 1,000 hours. So 1,000 hours is definitely comfortable, but of course there's so much more. There's so much more to learn. There's so much more to advance in. And so, yeah, I'm just excited for where that goes. But right now, I will say I'm feeling good about where I'm at with the little things I'm going to do to hopefully be well-rounded. Oh, one more thing. I'm going to start introducing more grammar, because I've started to notice like a lot of people who are 1,000 hours ahead of me are really focusing on grammar. I think for me, what I'm going to do, and this is something, I've never been afraid of grammar. I don't want to sit down and like learn it, but like I've always enjoyed like a little grammar video here and there. So I think I'm just going to continue that more intentionally. Be like once a week finding like something new to just go over on YouTube, find somebody who will tell me about it in Spanish. So yeah, just because it to me it makes sense. I kind of talked about this in a video like 2 or 3 videos ago, where it was like, to me, it just kind of makes sense to go over grammar, because we go over grammar in school as native speaking children. So I don't understand why like it's crazy to think about going over grammar as a learner of a language. So for me, yeah, it just kind of makes sense. And now that I see that so many people above me are feeling that it's necessary, I'm just going to go ahead and get a head start. And yeah. So anyways, that's really it, y'all. Thank you so much for watching this entire video. If you were more early on in the journey, keep going. It's so worth it, y'all. And it's like, this is the farthest I've ever gotten in my language learning like journey ever. And like, there's so many languages I've tried to learn, I just flopped. And this is the farthest I've ever gotten. So I think we know this method works. I think there's enough evidence now that it works. But more than anything, more than it working, I think it keeps you consistent. At least for me, it's kept me consistent. It has kept me so consistent, and it's kept me coming back even on the days where I really did not feel like doing anything, and like maybe I took a little break. There's never been a doubt in my mind that I would come back to it again, and here I am. And it's just so worth it. And yeah, anyways, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.